And feeling yourself settle onto your mat as you exhale breath from your body. Just landing here this morning, letting go of whatever it took for you to arrive. Letting go of the plans that you have for after class. Giving yourself the gift of this hour. And as you begin to picture that three-dimensional expansion on your inhale, imagine that there's light in that expansion that can expand to the crown of your head, to your base of the spine, and out to all your extremities. And then that light gathers back at your heart center or your navel center as you exhale. Notice if you're maybe trying a little too hard to picture this in your breath practice right now, and just soften, inviting in the light. Softening to allow your own light to penetrate your entire being. This light is always here for us, and it really enjoys being invited out. There's a lot can layer on to dim our light in our busyness of our days, but if we invite this light forward, we can feel some levity, and feel our true nature coming forward. As you stay with your eyes closed here, experiencing your breath, I'll share these words by Dana Faulds. Go in and in. Be the space between two cells. The vast resounding silence in which spirit dwells. Be sugar dissolving on the tongue of life. Dive in and in, as deep as you can dive. Be infinite ecstatic truth. Be love conceived and born in union. Be exactly what you seek, the beloved, singing yes, tasting yes, embracing yes, until there's only essence. The all of everything expressing through you as you. Go in and turn away from nothing that you find. So bringing hands to heart center, maybe allowing thumbs to touch your forehead as you bow slightly towards your heart. Just pausing to honor your light. And then we'll release hands and open eyes. And just begin now with your organic movement to open your neck So that might mean bringing one ear to one shoulder, trying to link the breath with this movement so that you're exhaling as the shoulder, ear comes closer to the shoulder, and inhaling towards center. I like also just to keep my chin parallel to the floor and to spin my chin from side to side, inviting it, opening in different part of the neck. So we have, multiple layers of things that are creating tension in our life right now. Holidays, even though, I don't know if you guys are finding this, but there's like this, oh, holidays are going to be so much more simple this year. But then there's an extra layer of like, well, how do we do this all? Like, we have to figure this all out. Sending gifts that I would normally be delivering and setting up all sorts of complicated, creative ways to connect. So there's still a lot going on around the holidays to cause tension and holding, which we happen to do a lot of in our necks. So just exploring here, maybe if you haven't started to drop the chin towards the sternum and rolling the ear up to the shoulder with a rolling motion, adding that kind of movement into your opening here. And as always, make this practice your own. If anything we're doing, I'm leading, inspires a different type of movement, I really encourage that. So the next time the left ear is at the left shoulder, let's start circling the right shoulder. Allow that right hand to be free, bringing some movement into the shoulder area, maybe starting to make some bigger circles with that right shoulder. In opposite direction. And then let's roll the chin towards the sternum and then right ear towards the right shoulder and start to circle out that left shoulder. Maybe making some bigger circles with that left shoulder. And then let's inhale, both arms to center, reaching, big stretch up towards the sky. And we'll exhale, right hand to the floor, side bend to the right. And then if you're not having any sensitivity in your lower back, let's allow that left hand to fall towards the right knee and then circle with this forward bending motion over to the left and find yourself back into a side bend now on the left side. Opening and looking towards the ceiling, letting your heart reach towards the sky and the sun. And then right elbow comes towards the left knee as we make that circling organic, just really organic movements here to bring us in and out of this side bending motion. Finding a nice stretch coming into the hips. Bringing yourself back over to the left side. And then inhale again, brings us up towards the hands towards the sky, wiggling out those fingertips, shaking out the wrists. And then inhaling here, let's exhale. We'll twist to the right. Left hand comes to the outside of the right leg, gaze moving over the right shoulder. Inhaling here, then exhale, just the gaze and the head moves looking over the left shoulder. So bringing in a double twist here. And then we'll inhale, hands lift towards the sky. Big inhale, exhale, twisting to the left. Gaze moves over the left shoulder. Inhaling here. Exhale, just the head and the gaze move over the right shoulder. And then we'll inhale, everything lifts towards the sky. Exhale, and let's slide the right arm across the chest, and the left arm grabs the right arm on the forearm for a shoulder stretch in the right shoulder. So you can start with some gentle up and down motions here. If you're having a lot of tension in your shoulders, just go easy here and just do what makes the most sense. Maybe rolling out that right shoulder, some circles. Finding that three-dimensional breath now in all of the tight spaces, picturing the light that you were imagining expanding and retracting into these tight, tight spaces. And then we'll let that go. Inhale, arms lift towards the sky. Exhale, hands release as the left arm moves across the chest, and we hook the right arm under the forearm. The left arm comes across, right arm catches it. And then gaze can look over that left shoulder, circling and rocking that left arm. Maybe allowing your eyes to close here if that helps you imagine that three-dimensional breath and light. And then we'll inhale, arms lift, gathering the sun that's not that high in the sky this time of year. Hands come together and hands move through heart center, bringing the sun into our hearts. Pausing here to feel the warmth of our own light. And then we can move our props off to the sides, then set up for some windshield wipers with our hips. So feet come wider than hips width distance apart on the floor, and we'll drop knees to one side, inhaling to center and exhaling. Warming up the hip joints here. I really like to picture the femur bone rotating in the hip socket here. There's so much going on in this joint. And in the winter especially, I think we need to keep all of these important joints really well lubricated to be able to catch ourselves on the ice and brace ourselves in the cold. Next time your knees fall to the right, we'll set up for half circles here. So my left knee is nestled next to my right foot and balancing on my right hand, kind of behind my right hip. Left hand extends behind, and we'll inhale, coming up onto the knees. Big half circle here. Feeling that expansion on the inhale, and exhale, hips back to the floor. We'll do this a few more times. Inhale brings you to lift, maybe coming up onto the fingertips of the right hand, feeling that opening in the hip flexor, the intercostal muscles of the ribs open. Exhale, hips to the floor. Inhale, lifting, this time really pausing, feeling the expansion across your sternum here. Maybe your gaze looks towards the floor to release any holding in your neck. Just allow your breath to enter, your heart to shine, bringing your heart forward here. Exhale, hips drop. And we'll come back to some windshield wipers. And then next time the knees fall to the left, setting up here, nestling that right thigh next to the left foot, hand reaches behind, and inhale, coming up onto the knees, really feeling that expansion along the right side of the body. Exhale, releasing hips to the floor. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift onto the fingertips of the left hand. Hips move forward in space to create a little more stretch here. Maybe the gaze comes down to the floor, inviting your heart forward here. And exhale. We'll move ourselves into a tabletop position. Now, I should have mentioned, I like to practice in the winter with a blanket on my mat because my mat is so cold in my house. So especially for knee down postures, it can be really nice to have, like, why not? We're at home, we're doing yoga at home. It's a pandemic, be cozy, right? I'm all about cozy. Kate knows that. All right, so we'll move through some cat-cow postures here. We'll inhale, gaze moves forward, sternum shines forward. Exhale, curling into cat pose, chin drops towards sternum, really feeling the shoulder blades expand on the back. And then inhale into cow. And exhale, that was cow. Exhale to cat pose. And let's let the hips come back to the heels for our child's flow. And then scooting sternum through the hands brings us back into cow pose. Exhale, hips tuck, hips move back to heels, child's pose, and keep going here with this flow. I think this flow is a great demonstration of how we have to balance all the different parts of our nature, our part of ourselves that wants to curl up in a cave and be alone and quiet, and then the parts of ourselves that are ready to shine our light out into the world. We need both to be balanced and feel some degree of engagement in the world, and also nurturing for ourselves. Next time you find yourself in table pose, let's tuck the toes under and move in, add a downward dog to this flow. Pausing in downward dog, and then knees come to the floor, moving back into child's pose. Torso scoots through the hands, coming into cow pose. Toes curl as you come briefly into cat and then downward dog. I mentioned last week that this is part of my everyday routine. If I don't have time I usually don't have time for a full yoga practice in the morning, but this helps me feel like I'm waking everything up. So next time you find yourself in downward dog, let's walk the heels out, stretching the toes, and pausing the movement just to feel your downward dog this morning. Head comes between the biceps, maybe nod the head yes and no. Feeling that movement of the sternum And the chest moving back towards the thighs. You can have a deep bend in the knees here in your downward dog. And then feet walk towards the hands. Let's pause here in ragdoll. Arms can cross at the elbows, head releases. Let's shake the whole torso back and forth like you're nodding yes. And then swinging no. Feeling that release in the low back. Could be a deep bend in the knees here. And then let's inhale, slowly arms lift towards the sky. Coming to standing, and then hands move through heart center, back to the heart. Pausing here, allow your eyes to close. Maybe one hand comes on top of the heart and then the other hand on top of that. Taking a minute to come back to your heart, to the light in your heart. And then for any class about levity would need to include a breath of joy. So we're going to move into breath of joy here. So first, just let everything kind of shake out. We've been on the floor for a little while, so let everything wiggle a little bit. And then just a reminder, breath of joy, feet are a little wider than hips width apart. Nice bend in the knees so you're strongly grounded. And we take 3 sips of inhale as the arms come forward. Inhale, inhale, inhale. And then we exhale together with a ha. If you have any sensitivity in your low back, just arms can just release, or your ha can be a full forward fold with the ha. So remember a little smile here because it's breath of joy. Ready? We'll inhale, 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 ha. Inhale, 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 ha. 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 Are you smiling? Ha. Think of all that snow and fresh air filling your lungs. One more after this. Ha. Ha. And then allow that to the motion to stop, but feel your body still moving. Allow your eyes to close or gaze comes to the floor. Feel the prana. Feel your life force here. Sometimes it takes that vigorous exercise to remember that it's really here for us. And then we'll just kind of even this out with some lymphatic bouncing. So we'll bounce on the heels, let the arms wiggle, everything is loose. We'll inhale. Inhale. You can really thump down on the heels because you really want to feel a release in their lymph nodes. One more time. Excellent. All right, time to take off the socks. You still have your socks on, like me. And if you had a blanket on your mat, this would be a good time to move that off to the side too. So we'll start at the front of your mat, feeling your feet on the floor, really kind of noticing your feet right here, maybe rolling forward and back to find the 4 corners of your feet, and then side to side. Getting ready for ski season, finding your edges. And then I'm going to turn to face everybody, but you're going to stay at the fronts of your mats. So right from the start here, we're going to find our balancing pose in tree pose. So we'll have the left leg be our standing leg, and we'll come with right toes on the floor. Just first feeling here, this standing on your left leg, strong engagement, imagining roots spreading out your foot, the left foot, really keeping you steady. And then can you play here with levity? Can those right toes start to find a different position, maybe on your calf, maybe coming up higher onto your thigh? Just play here. Your tree can even be like your foot right out to the side this morning. Where do your arms want to be? Do you want arms want to be way up above in a very strong upright tree, or is your tree just flowing this morning? So finding your roots, remembering your roots here, really grounding down, finding a wall or a chair or something to hold on to if you're having any trouble with balance this morning. And then from this position of your tree with your right foot, hands come to heart center, and we're going to slowly send that right foot behind us, engaging the core center here. So this is a slow motion move. We're almost pausing here in warrior 3 with hands at the heart. Right leg can be bent, just playing with levity. And then how slowly can you let those right toes find the floor behind you? Whoa, that's crazy. And inhaling here, arms lift into warrior 1, letting your heart shine. Feeling the sun up there in the sky coming into your heart. Feeling the balancing in this posture. Hands come to heart center briefly, and then hands frame the left foot. Left foot steps back to meet the right in plank pose. Moving through your vinyasa here. That might mean chaturanga into cobra or knees down. Chest comes to the floor. Toes uncurl, lifting into a low cobra. And then exhaling, toes curl under, back into downward dog. Taking a few breaths here in dog. Let's lift that on an inhale, right foot lifts towards the sky. Exhale, right foot steps between the hands, left heel comes to the floor, setting up for a warrior 2 pose. So right heel, we could draw a line from the right heel, it would intersect with the arch of the left foot. Inhaling, arms lift into warrior 2. Pausing here, feeling your warrior 2, noticing if you're tending to lean forward into 2021, or if you're really stuck back into all the craziness of 2020, can you be right here, right at your center? Let's inhale, we'll straighten that right leg, setting up for triangle pose. If you have a block or something you'd like to use here, you can bring that close in to your right foot. So inhaling, exhaling, leaning out over that right leg, and then arms pivot, finding your triangle pose this morning. Feeling a strong core here, grounding through that back left foot, roots to rise. And then if you have your block, taking it with you, stepping that left foot forward, we're going to move into half moon pose here. So the right hand can be a few inches in front of the right foot. Left foot comes off of the floor. Finding your version of half moon this morning. Right standing leg is like such a solid tree. The roots are going way down into the earth. And that left arm is lifting you, calling to the sun, the branches of your half moon here, reaching towards the sky. Exhale, finding your way back into warrior 2. And then hands cartwheel to the floor as you're moving again through your vinyasa. So plank pose, knees can come to the floor, cobra pose, back bend of your choice here. Toes curl under, downward dog. Taking a few breaths here in downward dog. Maybe pausing, noticing anything that came up for you with that last balancing posture, any judgment. Can we bring levity into the places where we're learning and challenging ourselves, not take ourselves so seriously? We're going to inhale that left foot towards the sky and exhale, left foot steps between the hands, right toes, right heel spins around, setting up for warrior two here. Straight line between the heel of the left foot and the arch of the right foot. Inhale, hands lift to warrior two. Pausing here in warrior two. Feeling that centered spine over hips. And then left leg straightens, but with a slight bend in that left knee. Moving your block, if you'd like your block for triangle pose. We'll reach out just a bit over to the left. And then hands drop, setting up for triangle pose on this side. Feeling your roots in that right foot, keeping you well grounded, the outer edge of the right foot, making strong contact. Core muscles are holding you upright, reaching. And then weight transfers into that left foot as you move into your version of half moon on this side. So right foot comes off the ground. You can be on a block or on fingertips with your left fingers. Playing with the balance here, bringing a smile to your lips. This is all play. Can we invite the light in, the stability, the play? And then we'll bring that right foot to the floor, coming back into warrior two. Pausing here before stepping, we'll just step this right foot up to meet the left, hands coming to heart center. Setting up for tree pose on the opposite side here. So right leg becomes the standing leg, left foot, left toes find the floor. Really feeling your strength and roots in that right leg, micro bend in the right knee. As you begin to play with your balance here, tree on this side. Maybe your left toes stay right on the floor. That's a great balance right there. Maybe those left toes slide up the leg a little higher. Maybe your tree is like a free-form tree this morning, letting it blow in the wind, all this windy days. And then allowing those left toes to come to the floor, hands coming to heart, allowing your eyes to close. Pausing here, feeling your heart beating, feeling the play that you just invited in, both the grounding that is available to you through your strong foundation and the levity. Let's take our feet wide apart here, setting up for a wide leg forward fold. Hands can be at hips, knee, big bend in the knees, nice bend in the knees as you inhale at standing and exhale, feeling the pivot at your hips. The bend comes from the hips, coming down as far as works in your low back today. This is another really nice place to bring in a block or even a chair. to support your forward fold here. If hands are coming to the mat, maybe walking hands back towards the back of your mat, allowing your head to drop, really releasing in the neck here. And then taking some time to move back and forth and lunging from right to left. Bringing mobility into the knees and the hips here. This feels like it's so important to keep these joints well lubricated through the winter months. If you have the range of motion in your knees and ankles to come down into a full squat lunge on one side, feeling the opening in the Achilles and the back of the ankle. And then an inhale would walk you over to the other side. No worries if you can't get down that far, just keep your lunge moving. And the lunge could even be upright like this if you don't have a ton of mobility in your knees and ankles. That's still adding great motion. Just make sure that your knees are not going beyond your feet in this. So yeah, if you're down, feeling that opening, breathing into the opening of the Achilles. And then let's move ourselves into a squat if that works in your knees. So walking feet, heel toe the feet in, finding yourself into a squat. You can be on a block here if you need a little extra room in your hips. Or elbows might come to the insides of the knees. Forehead, maybe releasing to thumbs. Pausing in this posture of humility at this very holy time of year and full of introspection, honoring the light that exists within each of us. And then finding your way back onto your mat on the floor, setting up here for a bridge pose. So allowing your back to release to the floor. Hi, Fletch. Fletch is doing yoga with us this morning. So finding your way onto the floor, setting up for a bridge pose. Hands reach towards the heels. And then I like to do bridge pose with my arms in robot arm position. So the backs of my upper arms are firmly rooting into the floor right next to my ribs. And my fingertips are like awake and alive, pointing towards the ceiling. And on an inhale, we're going to lift almost one vertebra at a time, lifting the spine off the floor, coming into bridge pose. You can walk the shoulders in here. If you like to clasp hands on the floor, you can do so. And just playing here. If you root down on the inner arches of the feet, can you feel a lift through the inner lines of the legs coming right up to the pelvis and allowing that opening across the front side of the body here, really inviting the heart forward, maybe fingertips wiggle, maybe toes wiggle. Can you bring that smile here into your bridge pose? And on the exhale, shoulders release and imagining one vertebra at a time. Spine comes back to the floor, maybe coming up onto tippy toes to let those last vertebra release. And then if you have a pillow nearby, we'll pause in legs lifted, like a very supported shoulder stand pose, just pulling a pillow under your hips here. It's almost like a legs up the wall pose, but without the wall. Finding a blanket or pillow. Knees can be bent here. Hands can be on the belly or out to the side. Maybe rock your head from side to side, releasing the neck. Let's all take an inhale in through the nose and exhale with a sigh. Ha. Inhale through the nose. Ah. It's going to be a very restorative posture, allowing blood to move in the opposite direction than normally in our legs when we're stand all day. Flushing out fluids in our system. Supporting our nervous system here. And then we'll bring the feet to the floor, moving the prop off to the side here. Let's move through a figure 4 stretch. In your time, if you want to stay in that position, feel free. But from here, we'll lift the left leg towards the ceiling, rolling out the left ankle. And then spinning the foot so that toes are pointing to the left and then back towards your head. It's getting a little side to side motion in that hip joint. And the next time the toes are pointed to the left, bending at the left knee, left ankle comes over right thigh, and then right foot can lift off the ground. This might be enough of a stretch just right here, or hands can come behind the right leg. Bringing your breath deep into these large muscles at the back of the hip and back of the leg. Can you picture that expansion of light and breath happening in these muscles of the hip and the glute? And then right foot will come to the floor. We'll extend the left leg and then slowly lower the left heel to the floor. Left heel slides in. And then inhaling, right foot towards the sky, towards the ceiling. Let's roll out the right ankle. And then right toes spin back and forth to the right and back to center. Next time the toes are pointed to the right, bending at the knee, crossing over the right ankle over the left thigh, and inhaling any amount here. If this is too much of a stretch, you can even leave that left foot on the floor and just invite the opening with the leg crossed or hands can come behind the left thigh. Releasing any tension you might be holding in your jaw. Or tension around the eyes. Allowing your brain to soften in your skull. Left foot comes to the floor. We'll release the right foot towards the sky and then slowly lowering right foot to the floor. Heel can pull up next to the left, and we'll find your way into a twist of your choice here. So any twist that you would like to move into tonight, I will guide. Knees towards chest, hands come out to a T position, and then we'll inhale at center, exhale, knees fall to the left as the gaze moves over to the right. If this feels too much of a twist in your low back, a nice variation is feet on the floor and knees fall to the left. Gaze can still move to the right. Feel your belly soften as you invite the twist to work on all the organs of the abdomen. Allowing a deep breath to be felt here in the belly. And inhale, let's slowly move the knees back to center. And exhale, knees drop to the right. Gaze moves off to the left. Inhaling, knees come to center. And let's set up now for your Shavasana. Putting on any layers that you might like to add back on. And setting yourself up with props under your knees. Maybe you choose a belly down Shavasana today, or legs up the wall. Whatever you think would be just right. Pulling blankets in on top of you. Taking time to really take care of yourself here. Maybe if you have a sweatshirt or something to pull over your eyes as an eye pillow. Picturing a gentle smile across your eyes, softening your temples. And then the smile moves down and softens through the jaw area, neck, muscles soften. Picturing that gentle smile through your shoulders, your heart. Smile softens organs and muscles in the abdomen, hips. Right down the legs. Releasing, softening. Right through the feet and toes. Down each arm. To the fingertips. Feeling your breath more fully in your chest. Calling to mind that image of expanding light on the inhale, and that light gathering back at your heart center on the exhale. Making the choice on whether to stay here in Shavasana or slowly, without opening your eyes much, maybe making your way onto your side, pausing there, before finding your seat again. And then, so you're found your seat, just noticing this transition between deep rest and movement, noticing the meditative quality that you might have lingering about you. Just a reminder that this is always available to us if we take the time to carve a little time out. Such a gift during these busy days. Bring your right hand to your heart and your left hand over your right. Allow your gaze to drop towards the floor or eyes closed. Taking in this loving kindness meditation by Thich Nhat Hanh. May I be at peace. May my heart remain open. May I awaken to the light of my own true nature. May I be healed, and may I be a source of healing for all beings. The bright light within me honors the bright light within each of you, my friends, my solstice friends. Namaste.